How would you summarize your experience working with me and my company?
Nothing short of awesome.
Thank you.
It was awesome. In fact, and that doesn't mean like, you would agree with what I was saying all the time. Or Fatima, my wife, was saying, you would say, hey, Malik, think about this or think about that. And even though I had run much larger businesses, sometimes you have to transition to something that you own. And I think you held our hand pretty well through those decisions.
How did we meet? Do you remember how we first met?
You kept bothering me with emails. I think your emails were good, and you were giving information which was helpful in deciding to give you a call or take that next step versus something very rudimentary, sky's blue and do the right thing. It wasn't that. It was just more meaningful information that helped me take the next step.
Yeah. I know that we looked at several franchises. You evaluated several of them. Do you feel like that we made a good match with where you're at right now?
I think so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, man. I've been very pleased with your process. I don't know how the other franchisors are, but certainly Image Studio is an awesome franchise. When I was in corporate and we evaluated businesses, we looked at the turnover within the management team. Image Studio doesn't have a turnover at all to speak of. So that same person is always available, and you get to know him, and then their email doesn't change or the person doesn't change. It's really, really helpful to have that kind of setup.
A lot of people won't know, and I want to ask you, what inspired you to consider owning a franchise way back when we first started meeting?
First of all, there's a lot of hand-holding from the franchisor, which is very helpful. You don't make the mistakes that you would if you were to do anything on your own. There's a lot of lessons learned that you don't have to learn, somebody else did before you, and you're just told. So if you follow the system with a good franchisor like Image Studios, you're not going to make those mistakes. The second thing I realized after owning the franchise is, if you get stuck, there's always somebody you can call. Versus if you want to start your own business, you may obviously find a consultant to call or somebody, but other business owners and similar businesses would be hesitant. But the franchisor, that's been worth every pretty penny in being a franchisee.
Tell me, Malik, you have a unique background. Can you tell me a little bit about what your professional background is, and have you retained your full-time job?
I have been in food business. I worked for a very large food company for many, many years, primarily in meat. And then I had to relocate down here in Dallas for family reasons. So I left that job, and then I signed up for Image Studios franchise. So I don't have a full-time job right now, but I do have other businesses that I operate along with it. One of the things I was looking for with Image Studios was passive ownership, and it certainly is that. I spend maybe, it just week to week, but on the average, maybe 10 or 12 hours a week to make sure that the business is running and humming.
Mal, tell me, what franchise do you own?
I own an Image Studios 360 franchise. We open a salon with multiple suites inside, and it's kind of like a real estate play. We would lease the space from the landlord, build it out into multiple suites, and then lease the suites to professionals in health and beauty.
What would you say to someone who's on the fence about using a franchise consultant to find a franchise that matches up for them?
What I would suggest is do it, because one, it's no cost to you as a prospective franchisee. But the value add that, Matt, you brought was the breadth of options once you understood what I was looking for. Things like that you can build upon with different franchises on top of each other versus wider scope versus something that's more replicatable versus something that is more passive or more active. The profit potential, all of that. You will have somebody on your side who has a vested interest to make sure that you are set up for success, because it only helps you if I'm successful, like this interview. Because if I weren't successful, I would say, go pound sand, right?
Yeah.